It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Welcome, Snowmageddon 2016. It's Sunday. It's time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to America's automotive radio show, Test Miles. Locally created, nationally celebrated. In an official instruction from the show this morning, just don't go anywhere. Stay home, listen to the radio for the next hour.
Then go out.
Then
go to Costco, stock up.
It's not going to be that bad, Sean.
Well, KGW is already telling everyone to go to Costco's and stock up for the next month.
I don't think it's going to be quite that bad. I expect it's going to disappear about lunchtime tomorrow, at least. There's a little bit of snow. So
Maybe
what's on this morning? What's on this morning's show? This morning's show is absolutely packed. We're going to talk a little bit about CES, which comes up next week. We're also going to talk about the Detroit International Auto Show and the North American International Auto Show, where the Car and Truck of the Year will be named. We'll be naming the Test Miles Vehicle of the Year this year. We talk about the cars that we've been driving. And also we're going to find out about some of the products some of the product that's going to be released at CES this week. We have a special guest on to talk about how they're combining the navigation system and dash cams into one single unit, which I think is a very clever idea. So, what have we been test driving this week? Not necessarily snow vehicles that I've been driving this week. The first one I've been is a BMW 6 Series. By the way, I drove Project Discovery to work this morning, our Land Rover Discovery that we did for last year's Portland International Auto Show, because I wasn't sure how bad the roads were going to be by the time we left the studio this morning. But the other cars I have in my driveway, BMW 6 Series, that's a 3-liter twin-powered turbo, nice 6-cylinder vehicle, 315 horsepower, 8-speed Steptronic Sports. It comes in rear-wheel drive, which I happen to have. It also comes in all-wheel drive, which I happen not to have. It has that 29 miles a gallon MPG, which I'm not getting because I'm me and I drive a little faster. Audi A7 is its competition along with the CLS. It falls into that sort of coupe grand touring vehicle. I think I actually prefer it in the convertible than the hardtop, which is what I have. The price of this is kind of high. If you're looking for something in this field, you'll be paying at least $77,000 for it. Could be as much as $122,000. I don't know about you guys, but I think the 6 Series is about ready for a major refresh. It's heavy, it's large, it's still a fun car, but it needs an injection of fun.
Would you rather drive a Maserati or the Jaguar? Is that in the same? Well, I want something that it's distinctive, but I really like. If I'm going to spend that much money, I want to be unique.
So what Jaguar? Because Jaguar's a 2-seat and this is a 4 technically, or 2+2.
I was thinking more the Quattroporte or something like that.
Yeah,
something unique and interesting. I want to really stand out if I'm driving.
I think the 6 Series is a very California vehicle. I think once you get above the Mason-Dixon line, it's not so popular. But it's definitely the convertible versions, Santa Barbara, those sort of places are where it really hits high.
But wouldn't the Maserati be almost $20,000 starting? More than that, because isn't starting for that vehicle like 60, 70, or a Quattroporte you're not getting into for under 120.
I think it's a bit cheaper than that, but it's definitely a big price increase. But we talk about things like we don't have to pay for them on this show.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the big difference here.
I don't know. I think my problem with that the 6 Series is we were talking about. I feel it's more for older people. Like, it's a nice boulevard cruiser and not a true sports car.
What do you think, Brad?
I'm going to drive the car that the guys at El Gaucho will park and leave up front.
All right, that probably might be a 6 Series.
It might be a 6 Series.
But it definitely won't be the Honda Odyssey minivan, which is the other vehicle. I know you'd like to drive this because your family would be very happy. It's an 8-passenger minivan, Kelly Blue Book's Best Buy of the year 2016. I think one of the problems with minivans is they become huge. They become really, really teched out with lots and lots of extras.
Expensive is the word you're looking for.
I mean, that was the third thing that's happened to them as well. However, I happened to be at San Diego Auto Show on New Year's Eve and ran into Scott Brown, our friend from FCA Chrysler, the Fiat Chrysler Group. And he told me that, of course, the new minivan's coming in Detroit. He told me it's amazing. And I told him it better be, because the competition, like, the Americans aren't as favorable towards minivans as they have been in the past. And if you're going to bring one out, you've got to do the Kia thing, where you've got to hit a place in the market where there isn't any competition in there. But the Odyssey fills a nice gap, almost 250 horsepower, 248. It also does 28 miles a gallon. Its competition, pretty much any other minivan, the Sienna, the Dodge Caravan, the Kia Sedona, the Chrysler Town & Country. That comes in multiple trim levels, lots of tech on the inside. Love their infotainment system, but it does start around $30,000, and the sky's the limit. If you start putting things on this vehicle, it does also come with that really clever little vacuum cleaner in the back, which helps you pick up those Cheerios and all the other things in the back. I like that idea, and I think every car should come with it if you have kids under the age of 16.
I've used that vacuum to clean out my vet. It's a nice vac.
Well, you backed up the minivan to your vet and then vacuumed it?
Yeah, I didn't have a shop vac, so.
So lazy. All right, what have you been driving?
I've actually been driving the Mazda 6, and it is the 2015 Top Safety Pick Plus. Some of the good for the vehicle is the styling. Love the red paint that Mazda's came up for other vehicles now. It's a beautiful paint job.
They had to build their spray gun especially for this paint.
Yeah, it's unbelievable when you look at that paint job. I'm not a red car fan, but I would definitely buy a red car just for this paint. I love what they did with it. The interior styling on it's really nice. It actually has an elegant look, and it's simple to use. It has a 2.5 liter Skyactiv engine, cranks out 184 horsepower, 6-speed auto, and this also does come in a 6-speed manual, which most sedans now do not come in. So that's a big plus. Front-wheel drive car, you get 25 and 37 on the highway. Competitors are the Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, Chevy Malibu, and Kia Optima. And this is probably the one vehicle that I think can compete with Kia Optima, in my opinion. Because I've always said that Kia Optima has been one of my favorite vehicles out there, and a lot of my friends have bought them because of it. But driving this, I would recommend the Mazda 6. Starting price for the vehicle is $21,495. If you top it out in the Grand Tourings, you can get a little in the high or the low 30s, but well worth every penny.
So Mazda, the most fuel-efficient car company in North America, named for 2015. The only thing I think about this car that it needs is a little bit of interior and a little bit of tech. Apart from that, it and the Kia Optima are my battle for that midsize sedan.
Does need a little bit of tech in there, but I think that it's the drive too, because it feels like a sportier car, like more of a luxury sedan, like the 5 Series or BMWs and Cadillac. It has a nice sport drive to it. Does lag off the line a little bit, but once you're on the freeway or in the mountains or anything, it has plenty of power.
You use lag off the line. You sound like you've been drag racing it.
Well, I do have a lead foot. I like it when the light turns green.
All right.
We've all know that.
Brad, what have you been driving this week?
I got to drive what I think is going to be one of my top picks for the year was the Hyundai Sonata plug-in hybrid. And we talked a bit ago. I got to take it on a trip up to Great Wolf Lodge. We won't talk about that, but the liquor store across the street
I really want to talk
expanded dramatically. It's the liquor store across the street is very popular. But one of my favorite features, this car is hybrid and then plug-in. So there is a 27-mile...
Hence it's called a plug-in hybrid.
Thus,
yeah, okay.
But,
checking.
Just because we're obvious doesn't mean we know what we're talking about. 27-mile range on the electric, I guess, tank, for lack of a better term. 600-mile total range on that vehicle. Big, nice sedan, great to drive. And the adaptive cruise control worked beautifully. I mean, it was spectacular. I just set it, and it slowed me down. For 50 miles, something like that, I didn't even touch either the brake or the gas pedal. It was really fun to drive, greatly appointed on the inside.
I have to tell you my problem. So most people know that Kia and Hyundai are the same company. Hyundai owns a large portion of Kia. Here's my issue. I think when you get a Hyundai and it's decked out, you can hardly beat it. I mean, it's a great vehicle. But when you step down in the tech, the screens get so small, and the lack of technology in the vehicles in the lesser than full trim levels is really, really disappointing. So I would probably take the Hyundai every time when it's completely full of every option they have. but I'd take a Kia 100% of the time if I'm not checking every box.
Yeah, because we're looking at almost $40,000
right.
for this particular vehicle. You get the tax credit, federal tax credit, the Oregon tax credit, but that still puts it well over 30.
And I think a lot of those things are going away now. I was just talking to Chevy, and they have a big deal going on because the HOV lanes go away in California, I think, in April. So they're going to have some problems with a lot of the vehicles that people have been buying to get those HOV lanes. They're now going to have to buy a sticker.
Are they going to go to the Washington State Elite lane where you can pay extra money to be in the left lane?
I'm not sure, but I think that's the basis of it, is that you don't just get there because you have a vehicle that meets the criteria. Now it's going to cost you money.
Yeah, even if you don't get all the benefits, as we talked about here, the Sonata, I really enjoyed driving the vehicle. It's obviously a bigger sedan, so it fits my frame better.
Did you get the grape juice out of the back seats?
No grape juice. Kids are not allowed, unlike your dogs.
They're kids are not grape juice. Wait, the dogs don't have grape juice in the back?
They're not allowed to eat in the car. They get water.
Really?
They get bottles of water. I've spent 30 years cleaning up after you guys.
Let's have this idea of a cage in the back of the car for Brad's kids.
And, it was big enough that I couldn't reach back and smack Cade, so it was good. No, I had 10 out of 10 for this car. I really, really enjoyed this.
Awesome. All right, coming up on Test Miles, we're going to talk to Magellan. They have a new product that's going to be introduced at CES this year. Also, we're going to be talking about CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. That goes on next week, or this week, I guess it is, being Sunday, the first day of the week in Las Vegas. John Vincent's going to be here to talk to us about that, and also the North American International Auto Show happening in Detroit in 2 weeks' time. Plus, we'll announce our car or our vehicle of the year here on Test Miles. That's all coming up on FM News 101 KXL. Stay connected. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Staying connected with the automotive world, you're listening to Portland's #1 car show, Test Miles. Thanks for being with us into our third year. This is our first show into our third year, and results for the show pretty good. We initially, in the first year, went up 4 times from what was in this previous time slot. And we've grown 50% in the second year on top of that. So does that mean 6 times what we originally had as an audience? I don't know. My math's not that good. Anyway.
That's more like calculus for me.
Yeah. So. Fun fact time, Brad.
Here's our first fact. And speaking of CES coming up, the very first in-car camera was in the 1979 Daytona 500, and Benny Parsons was the driver.
Excellent. All right, we're all familiar with the California-based navigation company Magellan, named after the founder Ferdinand Magellan, the first explorer to circumvent the globe. The company is one of the better navigation systems out there, and Magellan will be at CES with a new product. Joining us from Magellan is Ted Lee. Good morning, Ted. Tell us about what you have planned for this year's CES.
Yes, we have very excited about our 2016 new product line, P&D's dash cams and dash cam navigator. Which is essentially dash cam navigator is essentially a combination of P&D navigation and dash cam all integrated in one single unit. So those are the new product line that we are introducing in 2016.
Now, tell me about this. So a lot of times people are buying dash cams separately and navigation separately. So the idea was just to combine them and make it easy for somebody so they could get both pieces of hardware in one unit?
Exactly, yeah. We find that more and more people need that, not just the navigation, but have the dash cam on top of it so you can record any accident or even a special event that just out of the blue that you don't expect.
Now, I love going onto YouTube, Ted, and watching all the dash cam videos, especially from Russia. They seem to have monopolized all the fun dash cam videos. Let me ask you a couple things about it. So how long does the camera actually record for? Once you turn it on, how long does it record? How long does it last?
Right. It really depends on the SD card that you choose. The camera obviously continues to record, and each our dash cam has an SD card slot. And then so the dash cam navigator can support up to 64 gigabyte, which can record about 1 day. And we have separate the standalone dash cam. Those can go up to 128 gigabyte, and that records about 2 days.
Now, I know a lot of car companies, a lot of companies that have these dash cams are being able to geotag these. It seems like that would be the next stage with it. So once the video is recorded, you could actually geotag that. Is that something that we're doing now with it, or is it something that's coming in the future?
Oh, yeah, that's already existing technology that we have in our dash cam. So all the dash cam that we have, both the dash cam and the dash cam navigator, come with a GPS timestamp. So, anytime you have a video that gets recorded, you can actually play back on your PC desktop or Mac, and then you can do basically like a breadcrumb trail where those videos are. You can map it out.
Now, once you finish that SD card, once it gets full, does it start re-recording over the old video, or do you have to put a new card in or empty the card or empty it in the unit? Does it do it automatically, or how does that work?
Right. It does automatically. So you can record over the old footage, and certainly you can pick and choose which video and photos you want to lock it so it doesn't get overwritten.
Oh, that's a perfect idea. So if you have something on there that you don't want to get rid of. And one of the things I think that I always wonder about these is a lot of these navigation systems get outdated. So you'll have a navigation system, roads will change, traffic signals will come in and go out, and those sort of things. How does Magellan deal with the changing landscape of the tundra of roads and those sort of things?
Right, good question. So all these navigation dash cams come with a 3-year free map subscription. And basically you can take your device out of the vehicle, you can plug it into the PCO Mac, and it will automatically, we have a software called Magellan Smart GPS. Once you plug it into your device, into this PCO Mac, the software will detect if there's a new map update available for you to download. And you can download the entire North American map in a few hours.
Do you think this is going to help with insurance rates?
Really, I believe so, long term. This is definitely an area where Magellan is exploring. Certainly having a picture or video of a real accident when you're not at fault definitely should help your case with your insurance company, right? Some of us may have gone through some of those accidents. Basically, once you have some hard evidence, you can prove it to your insurance company you're not at fault. Certainly this will help your case in terms of your insurance rate. And with our device, it basically has a G-Shock sensor that automatically record and lock any sudden impact. And so that's real benefit. But in addition, you can take the device out of the vehicle. Let's say if you do get into an accident, you can take a picture or record some video after the accident. And all these devices always have 1080p HD, so night vision, so you get a very sharp video.
Awesome. Well, Ted, one last question for you before we get into the news here. What's the cost, and where are you located at CES so people can come and have a look at it if they're at the show?
Right. The cost ranges from $180 to $250. That's kind of for the dual camera navigator. And we're at the CES trade show, and so come visit us. All
right, and I'll come by and say hi. I think I'm going to get one of these and just test it out and then see how it looks. Ted Lee, thanks so much for being with us from Magellan. Great new technology from them coming to market soon, and it'll all be displayed at CES, which really kicks off this week in Las Vegas. Coming up, we'll talk about that CES show. We'll talk about the North American International Auto Show. And that's all on Test Miles. Staying connected on KXL, I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Snowmageddon 2016. I keep thinking that this is just going to be a passing bit of snow, but we're all leaning out the window here of the Test Miles studio at Broadcasting House, the Alpha building, and we're looking down at 5th and Jefferson and watching a poor gentleman spin out in the intersection, and then everybody trying to help him get through the intersection. So be careful out there. Remember, speed is your enemy when it's snowing. You're live from our studios in downtown Portland. It's a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show, and we'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts, you can go to our Facebook page at Test Miles ENT.
Here's a fun fact. The Detroit Auto Show changed its name to North American International Show back in '87 to attract more international car makers to reveal brand new cars at their show.
It seems to be working now. The first 2 weeks of 2016 will be packed with automotive technology and new cars. This week, the Consumer Electronics Show, or as they like to call it, CES, takes place in Las Vegas, and I'll be heading there tomorrow to see all the automotive-related tech at the CES show. Joining me will be Test Miles friend John Vincent, of course, a contributor to the Portland Tribune. John, welcome to Test Miles. Tuesday, we'll be driving the new VW Dune in Las Vegas. Hopefully, there'll be no snow. What do you know about this car?
The Beetle Dune is really cool. It looks like a concept car. It's a lifted Beetle with some extra cladding and some extra visual stuff to make it look a little. Think Beetle Outback.
Except the big thing, it only comes in front-wheel drive.
And I hope that will change at some point.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they should have put an. And I think the original concept was also a hybrid. I don't know. Is this going to be a hybrid?
It is not going to be a hybrid.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. Hardtop and convertible version, though, sort of a throwback Baja vehicle.
Exactly.
I think it mans up the Beetle. And although they did a good job with the third generation of the new Beetle, manning it up a lot, this mans it up even more. So even I could drive it at this point.
Maybe.
Dead silence from the studio. It's sort of an all-terrain style bug. Interesting color they chose for the launch, this sort of gold sand color. Do you think they're going to do others?
I think they have about 3 or 4 colors in it. One of them's white, which seems wrong to me.
I feel very much like this is a Southern California car, and not necessarily people who have days like today in Oregon. It seems like it's going to suit much better beach life than it is going to suit anything else.
You wouldn't want to take the top down in the snow?
No.
As long as you're going, the snow won't get in.
Yeah, and that might be the problem, going in the snow.
It's going to be a niche vehicle.
Maybe we could ask Sean to post a picture of it on Facebook, so anybody who hasn't seen it could go to our Facebook page and see the Beetle Dune. Bigger wheels, I think, are they 20s on there?
Are they 20s?
18s.
They're substantial.
Substantial wheels, about a 4-inch lift on it.
Yeah, bigger wheel tire package.
And of course, it originally was a concept at the 2014, I think, Detroit show.
And nobody thought they would build it. And they came back and said, yeah, we're going to build it.
It doesn't have a very big engine, though. It's a 1.8-liter turbo.
They haven't done anything to the performance.
Right. The interesting thing is, I think in Europe, the European version is going to have, if they build it out there, it's going to have 3 engines they've talked about. So I've seen some reports.
At the same time?
Yeah, I know, right? It does originally say in the original release that it will come in a diesel. I don't think so. So I think they're going to avoid the diesel for a little bit longer, too, as well. All right, so CES, what else do you think we're looking forward to seeing at CES?
We're looking at some interesting tie-ups between companies that you don't think of as being traditional automotive companies and automotive companies, including insurance companies and entertainment companies. CES has become as much of a car show as any of the car shows.
Yeah, I think I read 464 automotive electronic exhibits. So that's going to be a lot of car stuff. And you telling me how many people are going to be there this week?
They were saying 250,000.
That's a lot of people. I know one of the things I'm looking forward to, the new Chevy Bolt, which is going to be shown for the first time there, which is kind of the small BMW i3 size electric car that Chevy are doing with a long range.
That's the long range electric car.
Right.
And that's Bolt with a B as opposed to Volt with a V.
Right. They're also, I've seen this thing about the BMW projected navigation on the windshield. So, we've always seen the heads-up display. Now BMW have this new system which will project to the whole windshield, and it will show you, and I like this very much, what lane you're supposed to be in. So it'll tell you to move to the right or move to the left. You're supposed to be in this lane in the whole windshield. So it'll mark the lane out. You're supposed to be here.
So it's going to be something like Forza where it shows you kind of like your race lines.
I think that's probably where they stole it from.
Yeah.
Plus BMW is going to be talking about some advanced gesture control.
Right.
Where you don't have to touch the nav screen, just get close to it and you can gesture.
And the 7 Series does have some of that with volume up and volume down, that sort of thing. I've tried several gestures that the BMW didn't recognize, which hopefully they will do in the future.
The people outside recognize those gestures.
All right, let's talk about the Detroit show, which follows that. Car and Truck of the Year announcements. The nominees, the Civic, the Malibu, and the Miata or the MX-5 for the Car of the Year. I'm putting my money on the Civic. What about everyone else?
There are a lot of good reasons for the Civic, but my vote's got to go for Miata.
I think Miata is a great car, but I'm not sure. Do you think a 2-seater vehicle should be the North American vehicle car of the year?
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's a tough one because it's supposed to be family and friendly, affordable friendly is one of the things.
It depends on the size of the voters as well.
We do it by poundage. We can weigh in the voters and see who fits in the Miata.
We know automotive journalists, and they tend to be a little girthier, so my guess is some of these guys are going to not like that car.
Yeah, I think there was a surprise for some of the jury members I talked to that Miata made it. And the Truck of the Year nominees are the XC90, the Pilot, and the Nissan Titan XD. Titan XD, a big surprise, only comes in a diesel at the time of nomination. So that was a huge surprise. I don't think that has a chance of winning because of the diesel iteration.
I think that the Titan XD has a great American-designed and American-built story, but of those, the Volvo is so good.
Yeah, I think the Volvo is definitely going to win that one. What about you guys? The Volvo?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Volvo, although I would like to see the Titan win with the diesel. I mean, diesels are supposed to be in trucks, so it still gets decent fuel economy. It's just not...
Let's talk about percentage of uptake. Percentage of uptake in the United States of diesel is about 20% in trucks. I can't imagine that a vehicle that's only going to be bought by 20% of the people that are buying trucks or available to them because they don't have a diesel option. Can't possibly think it would win. It would be a huge surprise if it does win. But I agree
with you. It'd be a huge surprise. I'm just saying I would like it to win.
Which does bring us, before the commercial break, to talking about the Test Miles car and truck of the year. We've narrowed it down into one vehicle this year. We decided to do the vehicle of the year instead of doing a car and truck of the year because I think it's the lines are becoming so difficult to decide what's a car and what's a truck. Although it's officially a truck utility vehicle, I know when the C-Max was up as a nomination in the truck of the year, everybody was like, more? But I think it's becoming so blurred that we have decided to go down to a single vehicle. And congratulations to Volvo because they are our Test Miles. The XC90 is our vehicle of the year this year. I just think it's a really, really good vehicle and it deserves everything. I didn't think Volvo could rescue themselves after they became an independent company, but they've done a really, really good job at pulling themselves together. So congratulations to them. All right, when we come back on Test Miles, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the vehicles we'll see at the Detroit show. We have a list, and John will tell us what he thinks. He will tell us what he's looking forward to, and what he thinks are going to be some of the must not miss at the North American International Auto Show, which starts in approximately 2 weeks' time. That's coming up on Test Miles and FM News 101. Stay connected. I'm Nick Miles.
Tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Visit
It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Live from our studios downtown Portland, Snowmageddon 2016 on Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts, and you can go to our Facebook page at Test Miles ENT.
So here's our final fact, other than the fact that we need to wish our buddy Joel Krebs a happy birthday. So.
By the way, if you know Joel Krebs, who's one of the sales managers here at KXL Alpha Radio, just call him up at home and tell him we mentioned him on the radio because he's probably still asleep.
Yeah.
All
I think he's probably got something at the front desk for you.
Fun fact time.
The CES show that in 2015 was the largest show in history with more than 2.2 million net square feet of exhibit space. That's big.
I hate to think the guy with the tape measure that had to work that out. That would have taken quite a lot
of Advil for all the sales reps.
Absolutely. By the way, update on a little incident going on here at 5th and Jefferson in downtown Portland. The guy's still not got anywhere in his little Scion.
Should we go down there and recommend, or since we're all professional drivers, help him out to get over a 2-degree hill?
I see that as a disaster. That would be 4 automotive experts fail to help driver at 5th and Jeff be the Coin News lead story tonight.
And I already did watch, how people help now. 2 or 3 people have been videotaping the guy's effort on their phone. No help at all. Just going to videotape it and post it.
Well, it involved all the SUVs behind him and the Trimet bus to his right. It's been quite a nightmare for the poor guy.
And seriously, the only thing that two automotive journalists can agree on is that the third one doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, John Vincent's here from the Portland Tribune. We're talking about the North American International Auto Show, which starts on, I think it's officially the 10th on the Sunday night. Oh, actually, it will be the 9th, which will be the Saturday. This coming Saturday, January 9th. We're talking about some of the cars that we can see at the show. One of the interesting things is a new car brand is being launched out of an existing car brand. So what Hyundai is separating off the Genesis brand and it is introducing the new Genesis 90, but it's not. You're not allowed to call it a Hyundai. It's now just a Genesis, and they're doing the standalone, which they tried to do about 4 years ago, didn't work. Now they're going to be a standalone dealership.
And we'll see whether that eventually gets spun off into separate dealership points, which would be a huge win for that company.
I do know some of the dealers who have Hyundai dealerships, and they had to make quite an investment to have the Genesis brand in their dealerships, which is going to be kind of interesting. No information on the car, but I will be covering it on Coin live from the North American International Auto Show, so we'll find out more about it when we get there. Other new products, the Minivan goes into its next life cycle.
The original Minivan from Chrysler comes back in its new generation, and it's supposed to be very un-minivan-like for a minivan.
Scott Brown tells me from Chrysler that it's going to be a game changer, and he's really impressed with it. He wouldn't show me pictures of it when I asked because he said his phone didn't allow him to do that.
Well, this is a huge change for them because they're dropping the Dodge Caravan and going against the upscale Toyota and Honda products where they Chrysler Town and Country.
And I think the big deal is this is definitely for them, it's definitely keeping Dodge as the performance brand and going Chrysler as the family brand. I love the Chrysler products, the 300, the 200, and the Town and Country, but I think they need some attention.
I think they need some products, yeah.
Yeah. Buick have a concept. I don't know much more about them than they have a concept. We've had the Avenir, which is the big one. We've had a new LaCrosse. We haven't had a new LaCrosse, didn't we? We had
a new LaCrosse.
We had a new LaCrosse
in Los Angeles.
We've had a Cascada, which is the convertible,
which they introduced last year, but nobody's driven it yet.
No, the ride and drive is February, I think.
Okay.
For that, the question is, what's left? The Regal replacement,
Enclave
replacement, Regal replacement.
Yeah, the
Enclave's old.
Definitely.
But they are introducing something that's going to be a huge change for the company. They're introducing a car that will be built in China for the North American market, the Envision SUV.
I don't think, I don't think that, I'm not sure if the Regal, because they've just done a whole bunch with the Regal, is it? I don't think the
They
Regal.
just did a mid-cycle on the Regal not long ago.
So we could be due for something there. A new GMC Arcadia is rumored to be coming. The Bolt and then the Chevy Cruze hatchback, I understand, might be there. So that's interesting. What else do you have on your list, John?
The Volvo S90, the sedan version of the XC90 with all the technology that the XC90 has in a large sedan format.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a really great car, but initially looking at a full-size sedan might be really tough.
It's going to be a tough market for them to break back into. They had some initial success with the S80 in its first generation, but it's fallen off everybody's list. So let's see whether they can get it back on the list.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'll do exactly what they did with the XC90, which is just blow us away with that as well. What else is on the? I know BMW have quite a bit, right?
BMW, because they don't have enough models in their lineup, they're bringing out the 2016.
No, everybody's snickering in the studio, but here's the deal. So this is a really interesting one. Car manufacturers said you can't possibly make this work when you bring out so many different. The market industry said you bring out so many different models and so many different iterations of models, it won't work. Yet they are clearly the number one seller in their category now. Because their sales went way up because
they
everybody
sell 5 of each of their products and their sales are through the roof.
Pow! All right, what else you got on the list before we run out of time, John?
The production Bolt, which I think we touched on.
Yep.
A refreshed Infiniti Q50, refreshed Mercedes E-Class. Gets the Mercedes front end treatment.
I feel like the E-Class is already so new. But maybe it's
about 3 years old.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. All right. And then also interesting that Jaguar, Land Rover, Mini, and several other vehicle manufacturers decided to abstain from being part of Detroit this year.
Manufacturers come and go from the auto shows as to whether they see them important or not important, and they always seem to come back.
I will also noted that it tends to be that Jaguar Land Rover is kind of an interesting anomaly because they're based in Mahwah, New Jersey. That's where their headquarters are for the United States because it's within 5 hours of the United Kingdom. It's easy for them to get to, yet they sell most of their cars in Southern California, which is just an interesting oxymoron because they
sell a few in Connecticut too.
Well, I would say they probably sell. I understand that in that county around Mahwah, that it's actually the most sold vehicle, but there might be the fact that they actually live there, all the people that work at the headquarters. But most of their stuff, I think, is in the West Coast, the Southwest, where they sell an awful lot of their vehicles as well. And of course, there's always going to be a whole bunch of surprises. There always is at these auto shows, right?
Yep. Last year it was the prototype of the Continental.
And that actually will be the final Continental will be shown.
The final Continental will be out at this show.
And I'm hearing that there's very few changes from the concept. The biggest change, I think, is going to be the mirror size because they needed to be bigger legally.
Excellent.
That is in huge demand in the town car limo industry right now. People are clamoring to get after that vehicle.
All right, so they'll probably sell at least 10 of them, right?
Hundreds, actually.
Hundreds of them. All right, that's to look forward to. John and I will be in CES. Come by and say hello if you see us. We'll be the good-looking guys amongst all of the teenagers who will be looking at all of the latest tech. Next week, we have a special on-the-road show for you from Arizona. We'll be talking about Jaguar Land Rover products, and we'll be visiting with some of the guys in the North American International Auto Show. And then it's the Portland Auto Show. That's all coming up in the next month or so. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the snow. We'll be back next week. I'm Nick Miles.